Devolver known for Fall Guys, a game that everybody likes, and Landfall, a made-up company. Just kidding, nobody likes Fall Guys. The problem with Fall Guys was players cheating, a small number of very boring maps, server issues, and bugs. But what did they do with the money made from the players? First of all, sure, it's just $50,000. That's not a lot for a company. But even so, apparently, they are donating the money to Feminist Frequency. What is Feminist Frequency, you ask? It's just a boring YouTube channel that somehow has over 200k subscribers but barely makes over 1k views. I think they use a simp to refresh their page so they can get over 1k views. So the developers, instead of trying to improve and make their games better or make better games, they use their extra money to support a useless YouTube channel that nobody watches. Let's make things more clear. 99.5% of the people subscribed to Feminist Frequency don't watch their content. And for real now, how do some feminists complaining and playing the victim on a YouTube channel will ever stop online harassment? Do you know how you stop online harassment? You block people from using the internet forever. The internet is full of toxic people from all over the world. People who still think it's okay to beat your wife and kids, fake accounts, trolls, and so on. Bad people exist in real life too, not just the internet. It's pretty easy to identify somebody in real life, but I still don't see bad people disappearing from the world, and they never will. On the internet, all social media and online games have an option to report and block toxic players, so what the fuck does Feminist Frequency does? I think this is just like Bully Hunters 2.0, but maybe this time they pretend to beat a toxic kid in Minecraft without using any weapons, or they will put a Feminist Frequency ad on his channel. Oh no, that imaginary kid will be so embarrassed that he will never be toxic again. This is why people don't want to support companies like Sony, Funimation, Crunchyroll, Devolver, and whatever Landfall is. First of all, I give you the money to support the people who worked very hard on the game or the anime that I like, especially the original creators of that anime or game. And second, I give you money to make and give me more stuff like the ones I'm already paying for, not to make a new wave of cringe feminist compilations. We already had a lot of that. It was funny a long time ago, now it's just annoying and boring. We want real entertainment. Don't get me wrong, companies can do what they want with their money, but don't expect me to buy your products anymore if you use the extra money from the products I support to invest in stuff nobody wants. I really think Funimation and Crunchyroll would have at least 50% more subscribers if they paid the creators of the anime, if they didn't censor or modify anime however they want to, or if they stop making their cringe western animes, or whatever, nobody asked for it. For over 4 years, Crunchyroll somehow managed to convince me that I don't need to buy a subscription to them. They always insist on showing me how their players suck, their apps suck, their dubs suck. They don't pay the creators of the anime and manga, they don't offer the fans what they want and ask for. A lot of shows are not available in my country even if I pay the same amount of money as the people who have that content. And now I see them trying to transform anime to that shitty Hollywood cringe stuff that I stopped watching over 10 years ago. Look, if I want your Hollywood cringe shows, I will watch your Hollywood cringe shows. Don't try to make anime like that. That's the point of anime. That's why everybody likes it, because it's not Hollywood. Anime is at least trying to be creative. Hollywood stuff just copy-paste creative ideas from 40 years ago, but they cut out all the good and creative parts. For example, everybody liked Avengers for some reason. I think it sucked a lot. I didn't know why I didn't like it at first. Then I found out from some people that read comics and stuff like that, and they told me the original story for Avengers was way better. They cut out a lot of good parts, they added stuff nobody wanted, and this just a washed out version of the real story. Anyway, back to our story. Like I said, I have no issues if Devolver or Landfall Games wants to donate their money to whatever cause they want. But donating your money to somebody that's anti-gaming, because let's be real, Anita Sarkeesian has no idea what gaming is. She became famous by being anti-gaming. And most of the time she has no idea what she's talking about. She just adds male toxicity and misogyny, and that's all. That's all her arguments. She's always against sexy women in video games, big tits in video games, sexy costumes in video games. But when it's something in real life, she has no problem with that. And this is why I hate these hypocrites. I have no problem with sex workers and other people like that. But I have a problem with people who want to censorship that in video games, but in real life, they promote that stuff. Well, that's mostly because they want a lot of attention. And I didn't really care, I ignored them for a lot of years. My problem was when an idiot like Neil Druckmann, for example, comes and say, "Oh, you're the perfect person to work on my games." Well, Anita didn't work on any games because she doesn't work. She just complains. But still, she was overpaid to give her advice. And the advice was usually, what if it was a girl? Brilliant, just brilliant. Somebody, quick, overpay her. Anyway, like I said, I usually ignore this kind of stuff. I did it for years and years. But I'm just getting fed up with it. Everything is boring now. Well, not quite. We still have the Japanese stuff that is pretty good. And this is why a lot of companies want to censorship or ban Japanese stuff. The Japanese stuff it's outselling the American stuff. And they continue to get more and more fans. Their issue is that they don't want to kiss the ass of politicians and other corporations. Because that's mainly what most of Hollywood is right now. They don't try to entertain you. They just force you to vote for somebody, like somebody, hate white people. I don't know, I just don't care anymore. I'm just making this video to tell people what I have on my Mew Mew. And to tell you that I think one day a lot of people will not care for most of these politically correct companies. Because real people want real entertainment, not this bullshit. And what I hate the most about companies like Devolver is that even if they throw a lot of money like this, I bet they underpay their employees. Or at least overwork their employees. Look, I'm starting to have a lot of issues with stuff like this. And I don't care what the fuck Hollywood and other big corporations from America wants to do with their shitty products. Because I mostly avoid their products for many years. But now I'm getting really annoyed because you know anime and Japanese games are really entertaining and good. And they're mad that nobody wants to play their shitty games. So now they insist on forcing the Japanese stuff to become just like their shitty Hollywood stuff. And you're probably asking, what does this has to do with Devolver or feminist frequency? Well, it's simple. I see more and more companies insisting and supporting this kind of bullshit. They see that people hate Anita Sarkeesian, hate this feminist frequency, this politically correct stuff. But for some reason, these idiots still insist on giving them money and supporting them and listening to them and modifying their products however they want to. But again, I don't care for Devolver, I don't care for the other company, whatever the name was. But they give people like Feminist Frequency more power, more money. And they usually use that power and money to modify and censor the stuff that we like. How about you use that money and power to modify your games? If we don't like your games and we don't want your games, that's your problem. But instead of making your stuff better, you come for the stuff that we love. And you try to make the stuff that we love the same as your crappy stuff. And that's the main issue here. Sure, keep your PC games, your boring movies, your PC movies or whatever. But don't come to us when you make no more money.